Hello again. This time the letter contained a rail ticket from my hometown of Norwich to Skegness, which is a coastal town in North Norfolk, and I was told that I would be joining HMS Raleigh, which was a bit worrying, I suppose, but I was obviously on my way, as you might say, to my first 6 weeks initiation and training. And when I got to the Skegness railway station, there were many other people similar age carrying their suitcases, and we were rounded up and put into a lorry and taken to this place in Skegness, which turned out to be not a ship at all, but a land-based establishment, which had been a Butlins holiday camp, and of course had been requisitioned by the forces and gone with the swimming pools and the entertainment halls and the roller coaster rides, and was now in a rather sort of dilapidated state. Once, when there were quite nice furnished chalets for families with twin beds and nice accommodation, now housed a row of chalets, very dilapidated, and we were assigned four per room, and instead of the twin beds, there were now iron bunks, two-tier iron bunks. And we were moved into these cabins, four to each room, of course. Um, Pretty well, the first thing that we did was that we were marched, if you can call it that. We walked out a step across to the stores, where we were issued with a mattress, a very thin straw-filled mattress, which I think was called a palliasse, two blankets, one tin mug, and a knife, fork, and spoon, which we had to guard with our life, really. And we were then left to our own devices. And I think at this stage, if ever you if ever you needed your mother, this was it. I don't know how well we slept, but we got to know each other, and the other three people in the room. And in the morning, there was a loud tannoy which woke us up, and we were told that we would go to breakfast in a certain amount of time. But before that, of course, we had to wash, and we had to go across to the washrooms, which were pretty horrendous, really. There was a long row of wash basins, a few sort of cubicles that had baths in them, and the usual toilet cubicles, and there were no plugs in the basin, and so if you wanted enough water to get the lather for your shave, then you had to block up the outlet with paper or something like that. Now, if you ever did manage to achieve a plug, I you guarded it with as much ferocity as you would your virginity. And I don't think I ever did manage to acquire a plug. But breakfast was not bad, really. Um, and you very quickly learned to eat everything that was offered you, whether you liked it or not. Of course, we were near the sea and the beach, but nobody could go onto beaches because many of them were mined, and they had defences to repel any invaders. But I think this is now sort of 1944. The Allies had got a foothold in Europe, and it was unlikely that we would be invaded. So, but nevertheless, it would have been wonderful to be able to go onto the beach and bathe in the sea instead of, in cold water in these horrible washrooms. If there ever were any hot water or even warm water, I certainly never found it. The next day, we were marched again. The next day, we were marched again across to the stores to be issued with our uniforms. We were given a lecture about the history of the uniform and how precious it was to everybody, but more importantly, how we should wear our cap. And we were told we should wear our cap a certain distance above our why aren't my fingers going the right way? Anyway, you know what I mean. Certain distance above our eyebrows, and also reminded that if anybody thought they would be cute or cheeky and wear their hat on the back of their head, or at some jaunty angle, then we were reminded that the punishment would be both painful and severe. So I don't think anybody ever did. Or there must be many stories I could tell about incidents of that 6 weeks training, but I think I would really like to summarize it in some way and say that we were sent sometimes to another part of the country which was more hilly, and of course we were made to run up or march up hills and down hills. We were learned to shoot. We were taught how to fix bayonets and thrust them into a sandbag on a pole like it was the enemy. But in summarising that 6 weeks, I would say that we went there as skinny youths, and at the end of the time, I know we were able to march in columns of 2s and 3s and 4s to a standard that I think would be good enough to do on Horse Guards Parade. So we did turn into fit young men, and but more importantly, I believe, was the fact that we were conditioned to respond to an order without question, which was the most important part of the training. So from there on, we had a wonderful, wonderful week's leave before the next sort of adventure. So until next time when I tell you about that, goodbye.
We have not asked that the rules of the game should be modified. Then we shall never descend to the German and Japanese level. But if anybody likes to play rough, we can play rough too.